Was here for the people of Mfume. Shock and outrage is what the community on the ground is saying in response to the attacks that took place in the early hours of yesterday morning, where we understand that unknown gunmen entered the home of Mr. Mkize. He was recently appointed as a VD coordinator for the voting districts here in the area of Mfume on behalf of the African National Congress, and he was really going to be responsible for the elections for the ANC moving forward from now until next year's elections. And we understand that in the early hours of yesterday morning, unknown gunmen entered his home, and he was awoken, or the family, him and his wife were sleeping at the time. What we understand, the wife having told authorities at the moment is that they were awoken to unknown men who told her to cover her head, and they shot him multiple times before then making their way out of the home. Two other gentlemen were then killed on the road, and at the moment, although it has not been confirmed, but the speculation from the community is that it's possibly the same attackers who then saw them or encountered them on the road not far from the Mkize homestead, and they then shot them as well, leaving them dead on the road. And this morning, the leadership of the ANC, led by ANC NEC member Begicele, was also the National Minister of Police, the provincial leadership, as well as the regional leadership. This area of Mfume falling, of course, under the eThekwini region. The leadership of the region are here. Currently, they are at the second house visiting the Hlengwa family. Nati Hlengwa, who's one of the deceased, visiting his family. They will then make their way here to meet the local Nkosi Mkize, and behind us, as you see, this is the tribal court where Nkosi Mkize, we understand, is already inside, and he's awaiting the arrival of the ANC leadership here. They visited the first home of one of the other victims, Sibonelo Hlongwane, earlier on, then to the Hlengwa family. After they've met with the Nkosi, we understand that they've gathered the community members and the members of the ANC, where they will be addressed by Begicele later on around midday. He will be addressing members. Just speaking to the community on the ground, of course, they're quite shocked and saddened by this incident. Mkize has been described as somebody who worked really hard for the ANC. He was involved in the ANC structures, rallying, and particularly when it came to local elections, and thus the ANC deciding that they appoint him coordinator to assist in the preparations for the elections. Of course, this incident happens as around South Africa. It's voter registration weekend, and certainly it has dampened spirits around here. We just spoke to some of the young people who are here, who said that even the turnout at the voting stations yesterday was very, very low. A lot of people fear, in fact, they said that they were scared to move around, and unfortunately the response of people going to the voting stations yesterday was very, very low, having heard the incident that took place in the morning. And again today, some of the voting stations opened a little later than had been expected, and again, what we understand is that there are not a lot of people who are making their way to the voting station. So certainly in terms of the ANC, their programs for this weekend, they had, we understand from some of the local leadership, they had gone through quite a huge program, an intensive drive to encourage voters to go to the voting stations to verify those details. You would also note that we've been talking about KZN being the province with the highest number of people with missing addresses on the voters' roll, and the IEC has been urging people of KwaZulu-Natal to come out on their numbers to go to the voting stations to verify those details. About 1.4 million people in KZN who are registered voters, but they are missing particulars which the IEC needs, and this is to comply with the Constitutional Court order, which says by June 2018 those missing details or those particulars need to have been given to the IEC. So this is certainly, of course, hampered that work well by the IEC of trying to get many people, particularly eThekwini region, which this area falls under, is one of the areas, as one of the municipalities, in fact, that has the highest number of people. It's about 290,000 people who are said to have missing particulars on that voters' roll. So it was quite important. These 2 days were going to be very, very important for people in this province, for people in this region to go to the voting stations. Also for first-time voters, there's been a huge drive as well by the political parties, by the ANC, to encourage first-time voters to register to vote as well. So this has certainly just dampened spirits. This is what the community are saying. They are really, really in fear. In fact, at the Mkhize homestead, we understand that out of safety, they fear for their lives, and so they've been moved to a location which we cannot disclose for their safety. And just the community around here saying that they're really, really scared. There is, of course, a heavy police presence. Various units are here. They have been patrolling around the area to at least ensure that the community do at least feel safe. We understand that security is also going to be beefed up at the voting stations around this area. But certainly it's been quite a terrible 12 hours for the community of Embo, and we will be chatting later on to ANC NEC member as well as Minister of Police Bheki Cele once he's concluded his visit to the families, of course, as also once he's met with the local Inkosi. For now, let's take things back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much for that. Ayanda Mhlongo on the ground there on the killing there of that ANC KZN coordinator just upon the voter registration. We will be giving you more updates and details around that story throughout the course of the morning. For now,